Dorit Kemsley confronts Kyle Richards about Mauricio relationship. Kyle Richards' proclivity for texting with Paul P.K. Kemsley has been a big conversation topic during The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 14, with Dorit Kemsley asking plenty of questions about the messages. And now, during episode 12, there are more questions to be answered. This time, though, they're about Kyle's estranged husband, Mauricio Umansky. While attending Dorit's 4th of July barbecue, the conversation turned once again to Kyle and PK, and then it pivoted. "I don't even know what's going on with you right now," Dorit told Kyle as the other women surrounded them, listening on. After some back and forth, Kyle dug in. "You know I'm separated from my husband. I'm married for 28 years, with him 30 years. We have 4 children. What else do you need to know?" Kyle hit back. "I mean, that's a lot. What else do you need to know?" After getting into a brief tiff and deciding they wanted to continue to work on their friendship, they headed inside for some alone time. There, Dorit was better able to find out what was going on with her friend. Kyle Richards reveals if she wants to reconcile with Mauricio Umansky. As they sat down to talk, Dorit wanted clarification on where Kyle and Mauricio stood in their separation. She asked, "You guys started where you said, 'We're going to separate for 6 months and then look at it,' right?" Kyle said yes, adding that things took a turn when he started buying furniture for his new place instead of renting it. "How do you feel?" Dorit asked, "Do you want to be back together?" To that, Kyle responded, "Right now, I just want to take this time too, but I'm not doing anything with the time." When Dorit stated, "I don't understand what you're supposed to get after 6 months," Kyle admitted, "I think that was just an easy way to say, 'What do you say? I'm leaving for a year?' to ease the—" and she let that thought hang. However, Dorit didn't let the conversation end there. When she asked again if Kyle wants a divorce, Kyle stated, "I'm not gonna stay like this. So if we're not going to get back together, then I'm going to get a divorce, yes," she continued. "Obviously. As for if they're going to get back together, right now that's not going to happen," Kyle said. Where Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley's friendship stands. Before their heart-to-heart, the women also argued over if they were actually starting fresh and clean after plenty of fighting earlier in the season. Another separation, if you will. "Are we going back? Tell me now, because I need to know," Dorit asked Kyle during the February 18 episode. Kyle responded, "I want to start fresh and clean. Ok, but I thought we decided that on the beach at Garcelle Beauvais' house," Dorit shared, "it feels like I'm being clawed at." Kyle admitted she understood, and noted that their new relationship of trust would have to start from scratch for the both of them. In a confessional, Kyle broke down why it's important for her and Dorit's friendship to move ahead. "It's important to me to move forward with Dorit. Is it annoying sometimes and extremely frustrating? Yes, like right now. But I want to be in a better place with her, so I'm willing to take a breath and reset," she said. Dorit also had a take in her own interview. "I feel like Kyle, and I have already done the dance," she said. "If we're going to do the dance over and over and over, then I'm doing exactly what I did in my marriage, which is not something I want to do. So if Kyle and I can go from having a little bit of a disagreement to her saying she wants to work on our friendship, I'm gonna take it. I need peace." And then they went in for a hug. Dorit Kemsley confronts Kyle Richards about Mauricio's relationship. A Real Housewives drama unfolds. The gentle clinking of glasses and the soft murmur of laughter filled the air as the guests at Dorit Kemsley's 4th of July barbecue gathered around the stunningly decorated outdoor space. Dorit, ever the hostess with the mostess, had gone all out for the event. The guests were a mix of friends and familiar faces from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The vibrant atmosphere made for a perfect backdrop, but beneath the surface, a more serious conversation was brewing. One that had been lingering in the air for weeks, if not months. It was about Kyle Richards. As the sun set and the evening coolness settled in, the group of women found themselves sipping wine and mingling, but a palpable tension was already starting to simmer between Kyle and Dorit. The two had been through their fair share of ups and downs, and their friendship was one of those complicated dynamics that the show's viewers couldn't quite predict. They'd fought, they'd made up, and now they were on the edge of a breakthrough. But would they be able to push past their differences, especially when Kyle's personal life was involved? Dorit had been asking Kyle questions about her relationship with Mauricio Umansky for weeks, and now, sitting at the heart of the barbecue, Dorit couldn't contain herself anymore. The rumors had been swirling, the tension had been palpable, and now she was ready to confront Kyle about what she had been hearing, about what she felt was the elephant in the room that no one had quite addressed. "I don't even know what's going on with you right now," Dorit finally said, her eyes narrowing slightly as she looked at Kyle. The other women at the table, Garcelle, Sutton, and Erica, couldn't help but lean in, eager to witness what would happen next. Dorit's voice wasn't accusatory, but there was an unmistakable edge to her tone. She had questions, she had concerns, and at this point, she needed answers. Kyle's expression immediately shifted. The air between them seemed to thicken, and she squared her shoulders, a slight defensiveness creeping into her stance. "What do you mean, Dorit?" she asked, her voice unwavering, yet there was a flicker of something else. Maybe confusion, maybe frustration. "You and PK," Dorit continued, refusing to back down. "The texting, all the conversations. What's going on with you and Mauricio? Are you still separated? Are you getting a divorce?" It was as if the floodgates had opened. Everyone was listening now, their attention fully fixed on Kyle. The rumors, the gossip, it had all come to a head in this one pivotal moment. Kyle's marriage to Mauricio had been a central part of the drama for seasons. Their love story had always been seen as the perfect Hollywood romance, until, suddenly, it wasn't. Fans had witnessed the cracks appearing, but now the truth was starting to unravel in real time. Kyle's lips pressed together into a thin line. She exhaled, a deep breath, before turning to Dorit with a seriousness that no one could ignore. "You know that Mauricio and I are separated," she said, her voice carrying the weight of someone who had said these words before, but never so publicly. "I've been married to him for 28 years. We've been together for 30. We have 4 children. What else do you need to know?" The statement was direct, but there was a vulnerability in her eyes that suggested there was more Kyle was trying to suppress. Dorit studied her, her gaze softening as she sensed her friend's discomfort. But Dorit wasn't done. She needed to understand, needed clarity for herself, and for her own peace of mind. "You've said that before, Kyle," Dorit pressed, her voice now quieter but still insistent. "But how do you really feel? Do you want to get back together with him, or is this it?" The other women waited in silence, watching, waiting for Kyle's answer. This wasn't just about Kyle and Dorit's relationship anymore. It was about a fundamental question that many had been wondering for months. Would Kyle and Mauricio reconcile, or was this the end? Kyle seemed to falter for a moment. She picked up her glass of wine and swirled it thoughtfully before speaking again. "Right now, I just want to take this time too," she said slowly, "but I'm not doing anything with this time." Her voice trailed off, and the confusion was evident in her eyes. She wasn't giving a clear answer, but the undertones suggested that Kyle herself was still figuring it all out. Dorit's brow furrowed. "But what do you get out of this separation? What are you hoping to gain after 6 months? It doesn't make sense." Kyle's lips curled slightly, as if she were about to give a biting response, but caught herself. She exhaled deeply and let the words come slowly. "I think that was just an easy way to say, 'What do you say? I'm leaving for a year?'" She mused, her words trailing off as if the idea didn't sit right with her either. "It was just a way to ease the tension, I guess." Dorit stayed silent for a moment, letting the weight of Kyle's words sink in. She wasn't about to let her off the hook, though. "So, do you want a divorce, Kyle?" Dorit asked once again, this time with an edge of frustration creeping into her voice. It wasn't just about the separation anymore. Dorit needed answers. Is that where this is heading? Kyle's gaze softened for a moment, and her voice became quieter, more introspective. I'm not gonna stay like this, she admitted, the sadness in her eyes evident. If we're not going to get back together, then yes, I'll get a divorce. Obviously. It was as if a weight had been lifted from Kyle's shoulders in that moment. She had said it. She had admitted it out loud. Dorit nodded slowly, acknowledging the truth in her words, but there was something else in Kyle's tone that hinted that this was far from easy for her. So, if you're not getting back together with him, then what happens next? Dorit asked, her voice gentle now, but still holding a trace of concern. Kyle took another deep breath before answering, her voice steady.